I saw a lot of posts online this week asking, how tightly should I grip my paddle? I'm going to talk about what I do. First, I don't think I think about how tightly I'm gripping that paddle very much. I really only have a couple of things that I want out of my grip of my paddle. The first one is if I hit a ball off center, see it's on one side or the other, I don't want it deflecting that paddle angle very much. So I don't want any angle deflection coming off of here because of the force of the ball is coming in. So there's some minimum that I want to be holding this paddle so that if this ball is off center when I hit it, it doesn't change that angle of the paddle when that ball strikes the paddle. The second would be how much does the paddle deflect backwards when the ball hits it. Now there are a lot of shots where you want to have a nice soft touch and you want to scrub some speed off of the ball, and so I would want to have a little bit of deflection back where I'm absorbing some of that speed and taking some of the speed off the ball, but I don't want it to be so loose that it overdoes or over deflects. I want to be able to control that. So again, not so loose that this paddle just kind of does this in my hand when I don't want it to. Third, I don't want a death grip on this paddle. I don't want to be squeezing it so tight that if I felt my forearm, I could feel how tense all these muscles were up in here, because that is eventually going to give me tennis elbow. I don't want to be having a death grip on this paddle and being able to feel how tense all of these muscles are. Fourth, I want this paddle to be as long as I can have it be, meaning that these paddles aren't that long. I come out of tennis and those rackets are longer. So I don't want to be choked up all the way up here such that I'm losing some reach during the game while I'm playing. I want to have my hand as far down the end of this paddle as I can get it, so now I can reach balls that are a little bit further away. Here's what I do. I took an older paddle and took the grip wrap off of it. And on all these paddles, there's this little plastic butt on the end cap. And so it's larger at the end, and then it kind of tapers down to where it meets the handle and forms this little crease right here. So what I do is I take my ring finger and I put it right in this crease and just wrap it around the paddle there. And what that does is, regardless of how hard I swing, that paddle's not coming out of my hand. There's enough tension in my ring finger here, and it's not very much tension, that if I've got it in that crease and I've got it wrapped around this handle, that paddle's not coming loose. Take my other two fingers, wrap those around. My pinky doesn't have a lot of strength in it, so it's just kind of hanging off the end here, not doing much. And the other thing that this does is gives me maximum distance so I can have a farther reach. So instead of being up here someplace where now I've lost a couple of inches on my paddle, or having my finger way up here, what I do is wrap my ring finger around where that crease of the butt is. Other two fingers go there, and the pinky's kind of off to the end. And my thumb's around, so I see some people doing this where their thumb is in alignment with the handle. To me, that just allows more side deflection of this angle, so I don't like that as much. I'd rather have my thumb wrapped around the handle. Here's the paddle I'm going to hit with today. So it has the wraps on it, and in fact it has two extra over wraps on it just to make the handle thicker for me to grab. So this is the larger size handle, and for me it's still a little bit too small. And I don't have huge hands. I guess my hands are pretty average in size, but I feel like I need that extra thickness on there to be able to grab this paddle better. Otherwise, if the handle's too small, you end up gripping it too tight so it doesn't twist in your hand, and your elbow is not going to be happy with you after some period of time. So here's the handle, and it's a little bit more difficult to see where that crease is, but if I put my ring finger around here, I can definitely feel it. Like I can feel where the end of that plastic butt starts and starts to expand to get larger toward the end. So this ring finger goes around here, two fingers here, my pinky's there, it doesn't matter. Now I have maximum distance on this paddle, so I'm not up here wasting all this space or all this length. I want to be down here, gripping this paddle with this ring finger is the most important thing. The other two go around, my thumb goes around, and my pinky just kind of hangs out. As that point starts, and whether we're the serving team or the returning team, I'm grabbing my paddle, putting my ring finger in that crease and making sure I've got as much distance here as I can, fiddling with it a little bit to make sure that I'm securely in that crease, pulling on this a little bit, and then I'm good to go. If I want to drive a ball or hit a ball a little bit harder, I will probably grip it a little bit tighter. And yeah, I understand that people say have a loose grip when you want to hit that ball hard. And my grip is still relatively loose, but my main goal is that if I'm going to hit this ball hard, so this ball is coming in either as a serve or a return of serve and it hits my paddle, I don't want that paddle deflecting back too much. I want to keep all the speed that's on that ball and have it go back the other way and add however much more speed or pace on that ball that I want to add. So for those times where I hit a little bit harder, I will grip a little bit harder. I don't have a number for that. But the key thing here is if you'll hold this toward the end, wrap your ring finger around that butt crease, that's what I do.